Thank you and welcome to the first episode of Below the Belt with Brandon Newman. For all of you who don't know, I'm Brandon Newman and I'll be your host this evening and every evening until producers realize their mistake and cancel the show for good. Until then, let's have some fun, shall we? Okay, so I grew up playing sports in Louisville, Kentucky and Detroit, Michigan. And I was such a baller in high school that I was recruited to play football at Notre Dame. After 4 years there, I took my talents south to Muncie, Indiana for my 5th year of football with the Ball State Cardinals. After NFL scouts said I was a poor combination of fat and athletic, I decided to finish up my master's at BSU. And here we are now shooting the pilot episode of Below the Belt, where we don't just take shots at the world of sports, we aim low. But if you're offended by anything you see during the show, tweet about it, please, and make sure you use the hashtag BelowTheBelt or BTB. This way our producers can check our social media traffic during the show. Anywho, let's get going. This year, sports news started off strong with the 22nd Winter Olympic Games in Sochi, Russia. Now, Sochi received a lot of criticism from the country's poor hospitality. Everyone in attendance has complained about Sochi on Twitter since the start of the games. Complaints vary from cramped bathroom facilities to stray dogs, hotel construction, even filthy alleyways. Spectators complained that cameras in Sochi, Russia weren't even working correctly. Even sports media icon Bob Costas felt the wrath of Sochi when roommate Matt Lauer farted on his pillow and gave the journalist a severe case of pink eye, transforming him from this to this. Yes, this is not the work of Photoshop, folks. Simply an anchor with a massive amount of poo particles in his eyes.
Hashtag Sochi problems.
Costas was forced to stay off the air to recover. And as a result of his absence, ratings of the games plummeted worse than when Peter turned himself into a rock. Wait a minute. What's that? Oh, my producers are telling me that was the Hunger Games and not the winter ones. Fiction-based or not, the fact that Bob Costas' shitty vision was big news is pathetic in itself. If you were like the rest of America that missed the majority of the Winter Games, don't worry. Below the Belt has compiled highlights featuring winter sports Americans actually follow.
Circumstance, wide open take.
Clean. Yep. Clean right down. Clean right down.
No mistake.
Out of the way, Chris.
With the kinds of push starts these guys are capable of, we might actually see the Jamaicans win an Olympic medal. So this is it. We could see history in the making.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's bobsled time. Hooray!
Best slow clap in Disney movie history. R.I.P. John Candy. That Jamaican bobsled team hasn't been the same since you went onto that big bobsled in the sky. This one's for you.
Hooray, beer!
Speaking of Hunger Games, one of LeBron James' parents made the news recently, and surprisingly, it wasn't his lovely mother, Gloria. If you remember in 2009, Gloria was reprimanded by her son during the game for threatening opponent Paul Pierce after a blatant foul.
Mom, upside down is wow.
The foulness surrounding Gloria continued when she started dating one of her son's teammates, point guard Delonte West. But I digress. In a recent interview with GQ magazine, LeBron James had kind words to say about the sperm donor in his birthing process. Like, wow, Dad, you know what? I don't know you. I have no idea who you are, but because of you is part of the reason who I am today. The fuel that I use, you not being there, is part of the reason I grew up to become who I am. All this maybe wouldn't have happened if I had 2 parents, 2 sisters, a dog, a picket fence, you know? In related news, African-American teenagers nationwide plot to kill their fathers, siblings, pets, and burn their yard barriers in hopes of being the next LeBron James. I mean, seriously, Black History Month just ended, and the only advice LeBron James has for young, aspiring athletes is to rid themselves of their fathers. Side note, to all you fathers out there trying to be in your children's life, give them the ability to succeed and get lost. Your children need all the baby daddy drama they can get if they're going to be the next LeBron James. I mean, Tiger Woods had both parents in his life, and look where that landed him. Do the right thing, fathers. Love them and leave them. Take advice from Nike. Just do it. In other racially driven news, 2 members of Congress wrote a letter to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell urging him to change the name of the Washington Redskins. They argue the NFL can no longer ignore and perpetuate the use of this name as anything but a racial slur. I actually love having an NFL mascot that reminds me of Thanksgiving. It's festive during the holidays, and my people too love to eat flightless bird. Let's be honest, isn't watching the Cowboys beat the Redskins kind of like watching the History Channel? Obviously, I'm joking. The Cowboys couldn't win a game if John Wayne and Clint Eastwood were coaching. Do you feel lucky, Pilgrims? Surprisingly, Roger Goodell agreed with the congressman, but will keep the franchise in Washington, and it will be renamed the DC Blackfaces. Listen, in my opinion, facts aren't racist, and I, for one, support equality in America, and since that's impossible, let us all feel the wrath of racism, including Pocahontas and her family. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Let's move on to Blogger Baller of the Week. Every week, sports fans with a smartphone and a laptop turn to blogs to share their uninteresting ideas and opinions with like-minded couch potatoes. During this segment, we like to feature an individual who bloggers simply can't get enough of. This week's Bloggers Baller of the Week is none other than Iowa cheerleader Onazi Agbees. Here's his story. University of Iowa's head women's basketball coach, Lisa Bluder, recently beat top-ranked Northwestern Wildcats to solidify her 270th victory. This coaching milestone was overshadowed by Onazi as bloggers couldn't get enough of this intimidating young fellow. No doubt Onazi is the biggest fan of Iowa women's basketball. Onazi was juiced up for the game, and ESPN noticed it early on. One thing ESPN did not notice was the fact that Iowa's opponent that night was Northwestern and not Michigan State. No matter, the show must go on. Onazi is actively serving as an example of how young black men can contribute to a win without dribbling a basketball, but still appear threatening to opposing races. And for that, along with his Mufasa-like roar, we grant Onazi the title Bloggers Baller of the Week. Let's switch gears to professional sports. The NFL draft is almost here, and that means hundreds of college football players are in the process of being evaluated by NFL teams to see who will be the next star in their league. With that stardom comes multi-million-dollar contracts, extreme celebrity status, overall absence of privacy. These NFL hopefuls are not just being evaluated for their athletic abilities, but by their personal lives as well. In this year's NFL draft, the media has highlighted Missouri defensive end Michael Sam. Sam was SEC's co-defensive player of the year in 2013, and shortly after the season, he announced to the media that he's an openly gay man, something that his teammates, coaches, and NFL scouts were already aware of prior to his official announcement on ESPN's Outside the Lines. This news is groundbreaking because there's never been a college football player to come out prior to being drafted. Traditional sports media says Sam's sexual orientation will have a negative effect on the NFL locker room. Sports Illustrated's Peter King tweeted, "One GM told me Sam will not be drafted, although that same general manager probably has plans to draft a player who's been arrested for sexual assault." Listen, I can understand if Sam did something criminal like sexually assaulted a fellow teammate at Missouri, or even if he wasn't a good football player. But the man plays like this. Received first-team All-American honors at Missouri, and suddenly now he's not good enough to play in the NFL? I've been on a team with gay football players, and honestly, it's not that big of a deal. Those homosexual teammates of mine were not half as talented as Sam, and if they were anywhere near as brave, you know their names like you know his. I pray one of the 32 NFL teams let this brave man live out his dream of playing professional football. Not to be in the media spotlight, but to make their team better. I applaud Sam for telling the world, "I'm here, I'm queer, get used to it." And I hope they do. We'll be right back. Okay, Super Bowl XLVIII, or for our non-Roman viewers, Super Bowl 48 came and went on Sunday, February 2nd, and it was quite the lopsided affair, with Seattle Seahawks beating the Denver Broncos 43-8. With the Super Bowl lacking actual competition, after the game, the media was still interested in talking about Seattle Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman and his post-game interview with Aaron Andrews after the NFC Championship game. Let's show that clip.
Thank you so much. Richard, let me ask you the final play. Take me through it.
Well, I'm the best corner in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're going to get. Don't you ever talk about me.
Who was talking about you?
Crabtree, don't you open your mouth about the best.
So against Sherman's direct orders, everyone started talking about him, and no one had anything good to say except for the one person who actually held the interview, Aaron Andrews. Andrews said, "I don't think the interview was bizarre. I think it was great. I wish more athletes would be like that." Andrews understands that emotions were running high for Sherman and capitalized on that. The only downfall was when her peers in the media began slapping the unintelligent thug title on Sherman, who happens to be a Stanford University graduate. Some of these athletes are smarter than they're leading us on to believe, which got us at Below the Belt thinking. What is it like in the locker room after these post-game interviews? What are these athletes actually talking about? Here's our take on the matter.
Hey, Davius, what was going through your mind when you knew you had single-handedly ruined your team's chances for Super Bowl 53?
Well, at first I was like, damn, where'd the ball go? Because organically, I had figured to cross the goal line with the ball in my hand, so when I didn't have it, I was upset at myself.
What were the coach's remarks to the team after the devastating loss?
Well, you know, Coach said we win as a team and we lose as a team. And everybody can't blame me for ruining the season, you know.
Do you think your kids will ever respect you as a man again?
Well, honesty, ain't no telling. They know I do what I do for them, so hopefully they let me keep buying them stuff, you know. Last question, please.
Davis, this is your 14th season. Do you think you will retire anytime soon?
Now look here. I'm gonna cut out all that retirement talk right now. I have never been, I was not, and I won't ever be no quitter, man. You know, I'm the best. And you don't talk about the best, ever. And no more questions, man, no more questions.
Anton, did you bear witness to the interrogation I was just subjected to? I'm sure they'll try to make me out to be some type of monster. Some thug.
I will not have my name tainted. For too long I played a jest. I could have been royalty. But they say, we'll never be royal.
Royal. They say that it's not in our blood. They say that that luxury is not for us. They say we crazy.
I think you're reciting that Lord song, Royals or something.
Well, then Wink speaks the truth. We must show these African-American young youth that there's more to this life than this game.
Damn, you're right, Fifi. Maybe you should retire and just spend all your time and money spreading the word of change to underprivileged youth in the city.
Are you serious? Give away my money? It's mine. They'd never do that.
All right, man. Well, you at least trying to get flicked up for these post-game Instagram pics?
Sure, I'd love to do that. What's the caption so I know what face to make?
Right, something like, tough loss, gotta get ready for next year, hashtag, what off season.
I ain't
Like I mentioned before, the NFL draft is coming up in May, and every year ESPN and the NFL Network televise the draft live from Radio City Music Hall. Some fans buy tickets to the event, while others tune in to see where the best college football players end up playing professional ball. Last year, 7.7 million viewers tuned in to watch the draft, which tells me there's still a lot of people not watching. So we went out on McKinley Ave and asked sports fans some NFL draft-related questions that we made up to see if anyone claimed that they watched the non-existent telecast, and of course some did. We asked them about real players, players we made up, and everyone seems to be experts on the future event in this week's NFL edition of Live Action News.
Last night was the NFL draft, and everyone's talking about Johnny Manziel falling into the second round. What do you think about that?
I feel like he could have done better, but I feel like just because his overall combine, his running and just wasn't up to par to what I personally think.
Well, I think that he's an excellent athlete, but there's a number of different factors when an NFL franchise selects a player. He has to have the entire package.
We've been watching Johnny Manziel every week on TV, and every week he brings his A game. Even if the team loses, he brings his A game, and he's a leader. But I can understand some teams don't want to invest so much in him because, honestly, he's a diva before he's made any type of money.
Commissioner Roger Goodell came out in a suit that was entirely made out of jersey material on national television. What do you think about that?
I think that's pretty cool.
Ridiculous. I think it's funny, and he have the gut to be on national TV in that suit.
That was a pretty good stylistic decision.
The people on Twitter really liked it. Would you ever wear a suit made out of jersey material?
Yeah, I would.
Sure.
Yeah?
It sounds awesome.
Where would you wear that to?
Pretty much anything that needed a suit except funerals.
So did you expect Damon Trantes to go as high as he did after coming from a small school?
To be honest, I'm not familiar with that player.
He's a wide receiver out of Jamaica Tech, A&M, by the Vikings.
Oh, okay.
Coming from a small school myself, there's not a lot of people that do come out that far, so I was kind of surprised.
Now, there is a controversial issue. The ESPN announcers could not pronounce a player's name. It is looked at as a racist thought. So if you were that announcer, how would you pronounce his name?
Well, it looks like Lifesavers. It honestly does.
Lifesavers Davis third.
Which part? All of it?
This is his name.
Lifesavers Devoy the third. Lifesavers Davius the third.
It's actually Lafisse Davius III.
I thought his name is joke. It's kind of joke. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Well, thank you very much. It's a real name.
Oh, it's weird.
Well, thank you.
He must have a hard time in school, I think so.
It's time for Saw It Through the Grapevine. During this segment, we pay homage to the everyday athlete, not the ones getting paid millions of dollars to perform, but the ones who play just to play. If you couldn't tell by the name of the segment, we find these unappreciated moments in sports history through the mobile app called Vine. And if Vine has taught us anything, it's that everything is funnier on loop. Let's get started. Here we have responsible older brother Damon Trantes babysitting his little sister while mom's at work. Let's see what happens when sibling rivalry sets in.
Dude in the cup? Oh! Shit! Ah! Ah! Dude in the cup? Oh! Shit! Ah!
Thank God Cousin Ray Ray was there to catch this priceless moment. Not only did Damon Trantes get to teach his little sister the life lesson that ain't nobody safe in these streets, but Cousin Ray Ray can obtain his 15 minutes of fame, which ironically only cost him 6 seconds of time. Let's see that crossover one more time. Nasty.
Dude in the cup? Oh! Shit! Ah! Ah!
Staying on the basketball court, we have young Jay Sean, who appears to be quite eager to get to the rim. Don't be confused by the hardwood floors. If you look closer into the stands, this is a predominantly African-American school. Vis-a-vis, we could possibly see a dunk of some kind.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Roll the vine. Called it. The assistance by the other two gentlemen was a wild card, but we all knew we were going to see a dunk nonetheless. The question is, how does this vine end? Here's our options. A, dunker breaks the backboard like Shaq in '92. B, dunker falls on his back trying to land on his feet. Or C, entire gym erupts as if they found out Jesus was actually black. You guys know I hate to get racial, but I'm putting my money on C. Oh, looks like I was wrong. It was option B, and the whole school ran to fallen Jay Sean's aid. What a stand-up group of individuals. What's next?
Perfect texture for running. All right, thanks. We've seen a lot of people out here, like you said, running, sledding, just enjoying it. One thing, oops. Perfect texture.
Looks like we have Becky and Bill Cunningham. These newlyweds are being interviewed by the local news station regarding their persistence to run outside in spite of heavy snowfall. The snow wasn't the only thing hitting the pavement that night.
For running. All right, thanks. We've seen a lot of people out here, like you said, running, sledding, just enjoying it.
Either Beckley quickly realized that running during a winter storm isn't such a good idea, or all that exercise made her so tuckered out that she had to go to sleep right there in the middle of the road.
Perfect texture for running. All right, thanks. We've seen a lot of people out here, like you said, running, sledding, just enjoying it. One thing, oops.
Whatever the case may be, I just want to thank Mother Nature for the perfect texture for running, Nike for providing the Cunninghams with those sweet fluorescent jackets, and lastly, the cameraman for following the couple down the street and catching that priceless moment on film. Let's give all of our participants a round of applause. Athletes like these are what makes sports so special. When we get back, we'll take a look at a highly celebrated tradition in sports. We'll be right back. Okay, before we end the show tonight, I want to take a look at one of the most celebrated traditions in all sports, the victory dance. Now, some athletes are more humble than others and don't like to celebrate their accomplishments with distracting gestures. This guy is not one of them. Okay, here we go. The free kick is deflected by the goalie. Can't get his hand on it. Number 9 comes and cleans it up. And there he goes. What's he got planned? Looks like he's going to celebrate with his coach. No. What is...
Oh, no, he didn't.
Let's run that back. And make sure you check out everyone else's reaction. Oh, no, he didn't. Listen, this was no dance, but a celebration nonetheless. High fives all around until the ref pulls out the red card. That guy needs some new material for his next celebration. So we compiled some of our favorite victory dances that we've seen on Vine thus far this year. Let's check them out.
The new dance that is called the side kisser. You cock your ball back and then you hit her like a kisser.
Wait, oh.
Hit it me once, hit it me 2 times, hit it me 3 times. Let's go.
Me on time. What do you want? We're sweating a lot.
Kisses, but now I'm just kidding. Bill, I'm a young bitch.
Okay, you saw the compilation that we put together. Here's our favorites. The Talk About It, the Young Pimp, the Kate Hansen, and the Hit It For Me One Time. Go vote for your favorite victory dance on Twitter at BelowTheBeltBN. That's all one word, at BelowTheBeltBN. Vote for the best dance, and we'll have a Skype date with our winner on next week's show. For all other nonsense, follow me on Twitter at IRJarrell99. Thanks for watching tonight's show, guys. We had a ball putting it on for you. You get it? Like sports, a ball? No? Oh, yeah. Remember, if you're not aiming below the belt, you're not trying. Time for me to hit my victory dance. Good night, guys.
from the bottom, now we're here.